All right, let's talk about a text that's about 2,500 years old, the Sallekha Sutta. And, it's amazing how it gives this incredibly practical advice for how to kind of get our inner house in order. It's like a roadmap for what the Buddha called effacement, which is really just the art of scrubbing away all our unhelpful mental habits. I mean, this question is everything, isn't it? We're just constantly bombarded with opinions, with different ways to live, endless noise telling us what's right and what's wrong. It gets so confusing. And it turns out this is not a new problem. Someone asked the Buddha this exact same thing thousands of years ago. And that someone was a monk, Mahācunda. He went to the Buddha basically worried about all these different and often really harmful viewpoints that were floating around. He just wanted to know, how do you even begin to untangle yourself from all that? How do you find some clarity? Now, before we get to the Buddha's answer, let's talk about something most of us probably think. When you picture, the peak of spiritual practice, you're probably imagining someone sitting in perfect meditation, just totally blissed out, experiencing some kind of transcendent state, right? The Buddha actually talked about these states a lot. Things like jhana, which is this deep absorption, or experiencing infinite space or infinite consciousness, even a state of pure nothingness. I mean, these sound like the final boss level of meditation. You'd think that if you could just get to one of these states, you'd have solved everything. You'd be done. But here's where the whole thing takes a really interesting turn. The Buddha basically says, hold on a second. He acknowledges these states are real, but he makes this absolutely crucial distinction about what they are and, more importantly, what they are not. And he's so direct about it. He says, look, those states are great. They're pleasant abidings. They're nice, peaceful places to rest your mind for a bit. But, and this is the key, they are not the practice of effacement. They might be a nice side effect of the real work, but they aren't the work itself. Think of it this way. Escaping into a peaceful daydream isn't the same as actually cleaning your messy room. Which, of course, brings up the million-dollar question. If getting into these super deep meditative states isn't the main practice, then what is? What does this scrubbing away of our inner junk actually look like? And the Buddha's answer is just so beautifully direct and practical. He doesn't give some vague, lofty idea. Nope, he gives a list. A really specific, totally actionable list of 44 ways to practice this stuff in your day-to-day life. Yep, 44. It's not some mystical number, it's just a really thorough checklist. And it covers everything, our actions, our words, and, maybe most importantly, our thoughts and our attitudes. It's a whole system for changing from the inside out. So here's the core principle of what he calls sallekha, or effacement. It's an active process. It's about making a deliberate choice. You notice an unwholesome tendency, maybe in the world, maybe in yourself, and you make a conscious resolution to cultivate its exact opposite. And the formula he uses is just so simple and powerful. He lays it out over and over. Others may be violent, but we will resolve right here to be nonviolent. Others may take things that aren't given to them. We will resolve to refrain from that. It's this constant, conscious decision to go against the grain of harmful behavior, starting with the real basics. And he applies the same exact idea to the way we talk. Others might use their words to stir up trouble and create division, but we can make the choice to create harmony. When others are being harsh, we can choose to be gentle. It's about turning our speech from something that can be a weapon into a tool that actually helps. And this is where it gets really, really deep, because it's not just about what you do or what you say. It goes right to the source, your mind. So when others are consumed by wanting more and more, we can cultivate generosity. Where there's ill will, we can generate goodwill. You start to see that the real effacement, the real cleaning, has to happen on the inside. So why is this moment-by-moment practice of making better choices so powerful? Well, to really drive the point home, the Buddha gives us 3 really vivid metaphors that explain exactly how it works. First, there's the bypass. Just picture a really rough, bumpy, dangerous road. This practice is like choosing to take the smooth, paved highway that goes right around all that trouble. Second, it's an upward path. Every good choice you make, in thought, word, or deed, moves you to higher ground. Every unwholesome one drags you down. And finally, my favorite, the rescuer. It's so simple. If you're stuck in the mud up to your neck, you're in no position to pull anybody else out. You have to get yourself onto solid ground first before you can be of any real help. And all of this, these 44 seemingly small decisions that you make every single day, they aren't just about becoming a nicer person. They are the actual direct path to the ultimate goal, complete and total freedom or liberation. So if there's one big idea to take away from all this, it's that real practice isn't about escaping the mess of real life by zoning out into some blissful state. It's the exact opposite. It's about turning toward the mess, both inside you and out in the world, and actively, intentionally transforming it, one small choice at a time. And the Buddha ends the teaching with these incredible words. He's essentially saying, look, I've given you the map. I've shown you the bypass. I've pointed out the upward path. I've told you how to get out of the mud. I've done my part. Now the rest is up to you. And that really brings the question right back to us, doesn't it? When you look at your own life, your own habits, what's one of those rough roads that you keep getting stuck on? And what would taking that smooth bypass, that conscious, wholesome alternative, actually look like for you right now, today?